Hey guys, what's going on? I am commanderless for a moment. So, welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a TNG episode review, Season 5, Episode 16, Ethics. The Worf Broken Back one. Olivia Julius throws in $5. Here's a Trekyards, we like you. Here at Trekyards, we like you. Do you like us? If so, hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button. 16 people watching and only 7 likes. But yeah, so it's not the most exciting of episodes, but we are covering them all, so we want to make sure we get in depth on each of them. So welcome back, and hopefully we will have a good discussion today. Hey, Dave and Laura. Am I in trouble with Laura, Dave? I don't know. Probably not. But we shall see. Sorry, I'm just finishing up a thing here real quick, waiting for Sam. So talk amongst yourselves, just like in class with the teacher. Do your own thing until I'm good here. So, oh look, he has returned. It is a miracle, you see. Oh, well, he's just here for a second and then he's gone. Because of course. So we'll be right with you guys. Just 1 second. Thought I'd at least hit go live so you had me to look at and talk to somewhat. She laughed and said, maybe a little bit. Oh, god damn it. I'm sorry, Laura. Please don't hit me. Question is, am I in trouble with Sylvia for that? And no, I'm not. So it's really all I care about, David, Laura. Well, don't get me wrong, I care what you guys do, but you know what I mean. Sorry if you hear a snoring pug. This is the way. Without it, there would be no Trekyards. Paste. Olivia, $5. We need to do surgery quick. Put on your matching red onesie. Ah, yes, the red onesies. Those are pretty dope, though, I gotta say. So, don't complain about the onesies.
Marie has so many bags. So many bags. Okay, everything is fine.
I'm so happy. I've been keeping these people company.
Oh, good. Did you blame Marie? Because no one can be mad at Marie.
No, I actually just blamed you.
Oh, it's always the blaming me, isn't it? It's always me.
Didn't mention Marie.
Well, maybe you should.
But now you just ruined it and said that it's Marie's fault. So there you go. It's Marie's fault.
Well, we're not live, are we? So they don't know.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we absolutely are not live. Keep on believing that.
I feel like you're not telling me the truth, Stuart.
Of course we're live.
Hello, Stuart!
Hello.
And all you Trek Guardians out there in Trek Guardians world of here.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. TNG! Season something, episode something.
Season 5, episode 16. Come on, get with the program.
That's what I said.
I already talked about all that. You've already missed all that, so...
My phone said you weren't live, you see. I guess I checked it just before you went live, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm alive, see? There's people there. Just saying.
We're gonna have fun today. With Worf's spine. You know, the average subject of discussion is Worf's spine. Yep. I had feelings on this one, I'll be honest. I will start sharing, so see you in a second.
All right, that gives me a chance to tell you guys to hit like yet again. And by all means, super chat in with any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns you have about this episode. Any of your ethical, moral dilemmas, let us know. We want to hear about them. Was Lady Girl wrong for what she did? Lady Doctor Girl. you know the one. Let us know. Well, either now or when we get to that part of the review. It's fun doing like 15 things at once and trying to make up for Sam's tardiness. I know, should have been done beforehand, but I sat down and started doing it real quick before the live, and I shouldn't have, and now I'm here, and I'm sorry. I'll be done in like 3 seconds, but he should be doing something too besides sharing. But there you go. Hit the like button, do the things, make sure you're subscribed.
That was my zippy share.
Hit the join button, go to Patreon, click the links. You know the routine. And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you.
It's been a similar routine for a while now, so if you don't know,
there's a problem.
Just keep watching our content till you eventually get the picture.
Yeah, what you said.
Every episode, every day, just constant.
And Olivia throws in another $5 and says,
super.
Someone in that picture I'll get to meet next month in Missouri Comic-Con. And that is Gates McFadden you'll be seeing.
Yes. The question is, will she have white hair or dyed hair? Because
have white hair.
She, it's like if you catch her before a roll, and she'll suddenly have dark hair again or not. I still don't know why they didn't make her ginger or red hair for Picard, because how many gingers go black hair in their later years? It's like, wouldn't you stay the same hair colour? I know it's a choice, but like, she was ginger her entire life.
Yeah.
She was never a dark-haired woman. Like, why have you... I didn't get that.
I kind of miss the redheaded.
Yeah, like it was her thing, right? And she looked amazing.
She's also the dancing doctor. I think that was more her thing, but yeah.
Well, she only danced in a few episodes. She was ginger and everything. All those wigs, Stuart.
What?
Apparently she wore wigs in almost every episode of every scene of every TNG. Didn't realise, but you know, when they're hero-grade wigs.
That wig's fantastic. Like, she looks so good with that hairstyle. But, hey. Anyhow.
I've now done some stuff with wigs, therefore I'm like, oh, the fringe is there to hide the seam line, and you're like, oh, I see you, you know, people who make TV. So yeah, Stuart, ethics.
That's the title. Yeah, I've already addressed all that.
I understand. But I'm here with you now, Stuart.
Oh.
So what do you think of season 5 episode? This one, the one with the deadly barrel.
It's all right. It's very much a bottle show. Some characters don't act. Barrel show, yeah. Some characters don't quite act like themselves. We'll get into that when we get there. Namely, Picard, I think, was very misused, but that's all right. Geordi and Data got sidelined, but that's all right too. It's just all right. I mean, it's just fine. It's not an exciting episode. It's, you know, it's the moral dilemma that's the issue, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's never been one of my favorites, and unfortunately it is responsible for Discovery thinking that Klingons have two dicks, which they don't. But they kind of go into the redundancies a little bit in this one, and
I mean, they're internal redundancies, not external redundancies.
I'm aware. Yeah, it's a problem. So yeah, it's just kind of all right. It's not a favorite of mine by any means. So we'll see how it goes. But how about you? What did you think of it?
As with many episodes, of course, I've seen it. I remember it, but it doesn't mean you remember the dialogue, right? There's the sub stuff that's new. I'll say what I thought in a second. The one thing that really stood out to me is how little music there was this week. It was almost entirely absent, which means the fact they could keep, you know, compelling dialogue scenes for like 2.5 minutes with just two people talking in a room, which is the... It's quite impressive, because there's like no music for large swaths of it.
I didn't even think of that, but there's one scene in particular that really... You could hear the music ramping up, and it's like, oh, there's bad music coming.
Well, yeah, because it highlights the lack of when it has, because they use music very effectively. This is definitely one that you imagine the actors read and thought, ooh, meat. Right? This isn't some bullshit with some Triconians about a trade dispute. Who cares? Right? This is real character stuff for Riker, for Picard, for Beverly, for Worf, like real actor stuff. And cheap. So the production's like, hey, we saved $45,000. The actors are having a good day. and Michael Dorn gets to sit to lie down for the whole episode. Like, I think in general this is a win for everybody involved. What comes out of it is sort of a low-key measure of a man, in that it's a very high-end life or death moral story.
Yeah.
But of course it's about a guy that's lying down, and Beverly is not quite as compelling as Picard was, and doesn't get quite as energetic. So it's in that similar vein, but obviously doesn't quite come across, even though you could argue the suicide of a character is far more right now, present day, engaging than is he alive? It's like, well, yes or no, don't know, but like he's going to get killed, whatever. So yeah, pretty well written. The end's a little bit too abrupt, but not quite. I think several people probably got fooled he was dead, because he was dead for half a scene. Like they did not play it as if he wasn't dead. Alexander exists again. That was nice, because you always forget that he exists. And you get a huge moment of Worf by saying, you know, Troy, you're my Chidich. Is that, yeah, you know, like, you're my one other, because could you look after my son, the most important thing in my world? Well, in theory. And that obviously comes to play heavily in their relationship arc, which is going to come along in a bit. So a lot of meaty character stuff. It's not particularly exciting. I'm sure on a second or third watch you get quite bored, because the moral stuff doesn't work when you know all the answers. But if you haven't seen it in sort of 12 years, you're like, all the dialogue is quite rich, but we're not. But I mean, they don't build these things with multiple rewatches in mind necessarily, right? Or at least back to back. You know, in syndication, it could be years before you see it again, in which case you don't remember what they say. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jamie makes a good point. This episode was to make up for Michael Dorn standing all the time. That's hilarious. And Olivia throws in $5, and she says, "I think it's unethical not like. Did you know every like means that Sam gets a Sammy treat?" Oh, that's degrading. It's funny because, yeah, when this was over, I thought, oh, I'm just going to check out the next one, The Outcast, and everything's fine. Michael Dorn is just fine. He's standing at his console.
I mean, it's been 9.5 months between the episodes, potentially, so...
Well, yeah, we don't know the length, but I just thought that's hilarious. It's one of those issues, you know?
I mean, you couldn't watch them back to back then, could you? Like, there was...
No.
Did they even have, like, all-night reruns? Yeah, exactly. There was... Like, did they do midnight matinee all day? I don't know. All right, doing a poll now.
No, they did not. And we'll have a poll in a second, guys. But hit that like button. We have 32 of you here and 24 likes. We can get 30. I know we can. But yeah, we want to hear your thoughts on it as we go through it. And it'll be interesting to see where this one ranks at the end. And we want your votes as well, your out of 10s at the end. So stay with us. Let us know. Dan Batten sums it up this episode. Meh. Pretty much.
Here's what I found.
I didn't ask you anything, Alexa.
Okay, I had to abbreviate slightly to fit them in, but...
So the poll is, was this a strong moral story, a boring talky story, or an episode trying, but not quite there?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's just jump into it. This opening scene, we find out, well, they're looking for a chlorinide leak. Can't find it. Find out Geordi cheats at poker every chance he gets, even though he says he doesn't.
Is this the first poker reference?
I don't know. I doubt it.
They said Cardassians and poker, and I'm like, They don't mention either much.
Yeah.
So we definitely haven't seen a poker game yet. Definitely haven't seen one yet. I mean, Cause Effect's coming up. That is the poker. This might be the first time mentioned.
Yeah, maybe.
And clearly, Worf's new to it because that's kind of implied, or Troy is like that. They're just forming it. Is the scene's inference?
Yeah. But Geordi goes away to do some more scans, and Worf pulls out a tricorder and starts looking for the leak. We see a barrel that has discoloration on the side, and then we see the top of it, like, and then barrel falls on Worf. Oh no, medical emergency. It's like, what a way for Worf to go down, man. It wasn't even a battle or anything.
I mean, battle with gravity.
Sure.
I'm
Chlorinide. A chlorinide leak.
Well, Kern, how did I get disabled? Well, I fought bravely in the battle against disability. What? And did you note? I just noted that luckily all the actors in this long shot have both got spotlights on them for some reason, as if they knew exactly where everyone was and thought to highlight them in a scene that's dark.
That was just coincidence. There's just those spotlights in the ceiling, spaced evenly apart down the row.
Weird. Of course, this is a slightly joke scene because you could tell the barrel is so light. Like, not to say the gas inside can't be not light, but it feels like a stunt hurt because it doesn't look like it just, it feels like what it is, a stunt, which is unfortunate. It's maybe quite a powerful moment, but it's a barrel.
Yeah. And then we get Worf waking up in sickbay asking what happened, what's wrong. You don't need to have the field on. I'm not going to leave sickbay. I don't have it on.
Oh.
I cannot feel my legs. Oh my god.
And that was...
And you get the credit. Or the
given a pretty good pace there as well. This slow build of what's happening, and then you kind of sense his, concern. They let the scene breathe, which is nice. And, all pre-title, right? All pre-title. It's like, you're paralyzed. Oh.
And the container, not only that, but it shattered 7 of his vertebrae and crushed his spinal cord.
Does she say at the end, might never walk again?
She does say
that is an incredibly powerful cold open.
Well, what she actually says is there's actually no way we can repair this injury.
Means the same thing essentially, but that's one of our leads just okay, wow, it's and that's this level of tech. We found, of course, that you can fix scars, burns, change people from being Borg and back, but the 2 things you can't fix are the common cold, which we saw in season 1, and spines. Still can't do either.
Gotta have limitations, man.
Gotta have limitations.
Well, we come back from the opening title sequence, and we've got the USS Potemkin there, dropping off...
The Not Hood, as we call it.
Yeah. Dropping off this other lady. I forget her name. God damn it.
I don't even remember it at all.
Dr. Russell. There it is. But yeah. And we get some nice, hey, I liked your paper on cybernetic thingies. Nobody's even mentioned it. Thank you. So, yeah, that back and forth with the doctors.
It's like, how do you write that within, half a page to summarize their affection for each other? That is well done. What do you think of the actor choice and how she portrays this throughout the whole piece?
I think it's a good choice for the character, and I think she does a good job, actually. She's very measured. She's very measured. She's not emotional. She doesn't even want to get to know Worf. She's like, I want to be out of it. But yeah. Yeah,
she has a very well done detachment from everything she's doing.
Yeah.
While still feeling like she sells some of the technobabble very well later, as if, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel foreign in her tongue. She's very much more the not the practitioner, but the theoretical. Whereas Beverly's always there. You don't sense she's ever off fixing people. She's doing high-end stuff, which you need. But therefore, it's more about the problem solve versus the person healing. So it's just an entirely different context. So I liked the vibe of her. She did a good job.
I also liked that she was shocked about the state of Klingon neurological medicine.
Yes, that
so
was
primitive. They're like, well, it's a culture of bias. They don't care. They don't go into it. If you die, you die. But yeah, that was a neat little addition.
Yeah, like there's an episode of TNG where they have immune systems that are made of solid, amazing stuff, and then they get sick. It's like, but we don't know how to be ill, because they've never been ill before. Like, yeah, the Klingons don't let themselves live past illnesses that are that degenerative, so there's no research. It's really interesting, and it's a hell of a roadblock to the story. It's effective. It's really effective.
Yeah. Then we got Riker coming in, being cheeky.
He's so happy for the first 10 seconds.
He looked pretty good, for being in eating sick bay food for 3 days.
Dude, it's the same replicators you're eating from. What are you on about?
I know, that's exactly what I thought. And okay, so it's been 3 days.
Okay.
This is the other part that bothers me.
Okay.
And Worf's like, I'm not merely injured. Dr. Crusher believes me paralyzed.
Yeah.
Or my paralysis to be permanent. And Riker's just finding out for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess Dr. Crusher didn't want to doctor-patient confidentiality, didn't want to tell anybody else. That was Worf's job, but I found that a little odd, especially from the commander of the ship.
I think you can play that in all the different ways. It could be late on late on a Thursday night. They're on different shifts. You could play it that way, or just he's asking, please don't tell. The respect, he needs to process it, or there's some big event happening. Yeah, unnecessary. But you would have think that someone would have mentioned. Although he's clearly in a separate room. It's not as if he's in sick bay, just there. So maybe he knows he's been, he's injured, but to know this level.
I would assume Worf would ask Dr. Crusher not to tell anybody.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to tell everybody myself, kind of thing.
But it's again, knowing vaguely the end. It's sad when the scene's so positive. Like every scene's positive. It's like, oh no, Johnny, you're not gonna have a good scene here, as things escalate. And the acting's really good. I really like Frakes in this episode. He's giving it all the emotional welly, and that very fine balance of, do I respect my friend? Do I respect his culture? Do I kill my friend? I mean, it's a well trodden line that there really is no answer at the end, which is well done. I think he sort of gives both sides quite well, and it's uncomfortable. Yeah. It's really uncomfortable in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good scene. It's a good scene. We find out a little bit about Klingon culture, of course. Mm-hmm. The Hedgebach, or whatever the hell it was called. So no, that's good, and it makes sense for the Klingons as well. Although I can imagine that a lot of times with their double redundancies in their body, you could be falling on a battlefield and literally wake up a couple hours later going, okay, I'm actually still alive. I'm going to get up.
My hip is sore. Yes, you were shot. Well, it is sore. Like, cool. Yeah. But Trekyard does say, the Klingon lack of medical knowledge doesn't make sense, though. Not all Klingons are warriors. No, but this is an extremely high-end illness or affliction that how many people are being broken their backs at the warrior clothing factory versus the warriors out there doing stuff. So the majority of injuries going to be out there, and they just automatically kill themselves.
It depends how many barrels are in that factory. I'm sure people like Klingon farmers get broken backs, and you'd think they'd want to not die necessarily. But it's all the honor thing.
Well,
right?
yeah, if it's that cultural, though, there might be a case of his friend Jeff just comes in, gets a phaser, shoots him, like, the same day.
My name is Jeff.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's been ingrained in the culture for 1,000 years. They're not even going to question it, right?
Yeah.
Although, obviously, as Riker says later, should be your next of kin. Although he doesn't know that, which means that's obviously that's not the known version of the tradition. That's the deep version. The standard is just your best friend, etc. But yeah, I mean, asking him to kill him is really dramatic, and the fact that Riker says a flat out no, and then Worf clearly rallies and tries again and plays the emotion card, like, well, if you were my friend, you would do this. It's like, ooh, I buy it, right? It's that great balance of sad, depressed, positive, because this is release. It's like, it's positive, but also this is nuanced acting, and all through a Klingon lens as well. Really well done from Michael. Like I say, I'm sure you enjoyed this because it's just hard and good,
Yeah. Next scene, they're talking about that the treatments that they're trying aren't working, and then she mentions how over-designed the Klingon anatomy is. Mm-hmm. 23 ribs, 2 livers, 8-chambered heart, double-lined neural pia mater. Anyway, many unnecessary redundancies in the body, which could be a throwback to their more primitive times, and it's like our appendix, but they don't need it as much anymore, because she does say it's kind of unneeded redundancies.
Although isn't redundancy by its nature useful?
No, redundancy is, wow. Yeah.
Because he needed it, because he would have died otherwise. I mean,
But maybe they'll all heal from this. They just need to not kill themselves.
Well, and I want to give a special shout out to the excellent usage of a hologram here.
Yes.
It's not 3D, it's a physical thing. Because, of course, later on you see the prop they built for the spine, and it's always the same piece. So that it's just a real thing they filmed and green screened in. But it's really, really photo real, because it is. Really effective. And yeah, their close-ups are really good. That little hue just works really well here. Although the eye lines are wrong, you can tell they're looking past it, because there's nothing there. It's really subtle, but they're not looking at, they're looking past.
Well, they're looking at each other.
I mean, for the intro bit, there's a split moment where they're obviously looking. I think moment they're just looking through. It's fine. Just it's such a good effect that Yeah.
I like what she points out though about the redundancies. It's like double the organs means more chance of things that can go wrong. It's kind of a bad thing in a way as well.
Yeah, it's variable because of course when it does go wrong, you want it.
Yeah, and then she talks about her experimenting with DNA-based generators to basically, it's kind of like stem cell research, growing new body parts and stuff. It's kind of is that parallel, Is that right to do? But
well, and it's this sort of thing is always fascinating in Trek, where they've now created a revolutionary new tech that therefore it explicitly could not be done before this. So at no point in previous or earlier era Trek can, or even logically for a few years past this, because it's experimental, can they recreate an organ or based on DNA, which you would think would be sort of, okay, of course you can do it, but they've explicitly said you can't do it. Probably.
Well, they didn't say organ. The spinal cord's a little bit different.
It is.
They could probably replace certain things, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we know that Picard had an artificial heart. They didn't grow him a new heart.
I'm sure simple stuff, but stuff that's really complicated. Although what is simple in the body, I don't know. But I mean, a spine is certainly insane, and also a spine is bone. I guess there are sort of nerves in the spine, but how many?
Well, it's a spinal column. You see it later, that long green thing. So it clumps all the nerve endings together. Yeah. It's in the middle of the spine, so it's not really.
Yeah.
That's what was damaged and crushed. So.
But I guess you had to replace the hardware as well as the software piece. But it's interesting. I'm pretty sure Stranger Worlds will build a new something for someone. Although in Voyager, of course, they have to do a holographic lungs for Neelix. Now, yes, he's an alien, of course, but so is Worf. So I guess they didn't fix that. The Vidians genetically changed someone else's organ, didn't they? So they still can't replicate organs in the future.
The doctor says as much in Voyager. Like, as long as you lay there and don't move at all, the holographic lungs will work.
Yeah. But it is kind of a god tech, though, to be able to replace organs perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like how it's framed. Like, this is... I love the tone of these two people, because Beverly's so in, and then... Oh, how many people have you done it for? Oh, none yet. Okay. Oh, what's the chance that holograms work on? Yeah, holodeck simulation said it's going to work fine. Okay, yeah. What's the success rate on the holodeck? 35%.
37%.
37%.
Even a holographic patient would balk at those.
Yes, it's wonderfully tonal. Because they're both professional, but it just say it seriously. It sounds ridiculous, right? 37% of simulations worked, and we know simulations go wrong so often, especially with humans and bodies, and that is a terrible ratio of success.
That's the other thing. She was doing the holographic simulations on humans, because Beverly even points out here, Klingon neurological medicine, I don't have a knowledge of it to reattach it necessarily.
Yeah, true.
It's kind of like going back to McCoy in Star Trek 6. I don't even know his anatomy.
This is like deep anatomy, not just where is his heart, which of course was what makes that scene silly. But I love the tone here. It's just fascinating. The theoretical, where it's just this is a test to her. If he dies, we learn something. And Beverly's like, my friend, because really 37% success is what, 63% chance of failure. Say it that way, bit more scary. I mean, seriously, who in the chat would take a 37% chance of living?
Walking again, probably. I probably would.
Okay, would you guys? It's such a
That's a good question. Yeah,
Yeah.
answer that in the chat.
It's deep, but let us know.
But I love how Beverly just shuts her down here. She's like, I can't justify that risk to Worf, so we'll just do conventional approaches.
Which, as we learn later, extremely effective at its highest. It's actually very, very cool, just limited. Elvis says, how did Voyager give 709 her eye back? It was a synthetic artificial eye that you could like zoom in on. It's basically it's Data's eye, which obviously they know how to do. Which I think was slightly based on a Borg eye anyway, because they already had like she had a fake eye. No, did they change her real eye?
She had the
But was the other eye tweaked as well? Or was it just her? I don't remember.
That's a good question. I don't know.
But it was an amazing replica. There was a machine that looked real.
But we have an emergency.
Oh.
The Denver, the transport ship, struck a gravitic mine.
It's always gravitic mines, aren't it? That happens. Oh,
I was going to do the bit from Star Trek 2.
Do it, Stuart.
All power.
This is the Kirby Ashimaru. We've struck a gravitic mine.
I've lost all power. Life support systems.
And Marie is hearing this high-pitched voice thinking, what are you doing? I'm pretending to be someone from 1987.
It's a remnant left over from the Cardassian War. And normally there's only like 25 or 23 people aboard this transport ship. Mm-hmm. But they just have to be transporting 517 colonists. Yeah. So there's a lot of casualties.
Yeah.
Or not, well, injured. they're attempting a crash landing. So we got to get over there quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I kind of like the reactionness of this. I wish it was played even like 10% more, because I was kind of intrigued by this, like seeing the ship and seeing the captain and I wish there was a line. You get the sense the way they play this that Picard's ordered maximum warp. Like there's a certain tension. They're not saying warp 6, we'll be fine. Like I just wish there was one line of maximum warp. Maximum warp? Yes. Yeah. It's like wow, 9.9. You know.
Take a note of Riker's hair here on the scene.
He's disheveled in a
And they walk into the ready room. Yeah. And I don't know, this is like fake Riker hair going on.
Yeah.
What happened on set that day? Damn. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's like, let's make him disheveled by making him disheveled. Just to really highlight. Yeah, that was funny.
This is where my problem with Picard starts to come in, because he seems like when Picard's possessed by an alien or Picard's not Picard, that's how he's acting here in this whole episode. He's got a stupid smirk on his face. Well, let him die. He wants to die.
Let him die.
You would think in another episode just similar to this, he would go down and talk to himself and say, Mr. Worf, da-da-da. And he'd have that deep conversation with him before this scene happened, instead of just, he's a Klingon, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it just comes off wrong. And even later when he's talking to Beverly, he just doesn't quite seem like Picard. He's always got that kind of stupid smirk on his face. And it invoked when he was like not Picard. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that sees that, but it's a good conversation here of like, I'm not going to do that to my friend. Well, Klingons choose their friends very carefully. So he thinks very highly of you.
Now let him die.
You and I could live with a disability. Worf cannot. So he's going to kill himself.
Help, please. Yeah.
Get to work.
Kill that man. That's an order, number one. So, okay, now, the thing is, though, I do agree on the surface, but I got to work out why, right? Why is Patrick doing this? Because it feels like he's doing a lot more in the performance. He's really acting a lot of the eyes. The smirk is super unusual for him, which makes the whole face like emote more. It's unusual, so it's a choice, right? It's to be more. Now I'm left thinking, in every scene he plays it a little bit differently. In this scene in particular, it's a very much thank fuck I'm not the one being chosen to do this.
Yep.
Like you feel you know what I mean? Like he's saying, I will give you genuinely good advice, like genuine impartial advice, because I don't be. But if it was me, I would like. I wish he'd asked Picard, because it'd be a whole different episode, like conversationally.
I think so.
And he's being very negotiation. He's being very peace talks. He's being this is the pureness of this argument, right? He's the positive side of this, right? Now I wonder, although of course we can't take this from it. I wonder if Worf phoned up to Bridge saying, "Captain Picard, I've asked, like put his case first." Maybe
It's been 3 days. I mean, I'm sure Picard's been down to see him.
Yeah. Because would you ask permission for the captain to ask to die? Possibly. I could see it being part of the tradition, and so he knows if he's already convinced Picard, this makes more sense. Would you agree?
Yes, exactly. That's what I said earlier. Like there needed to be another scene, a conversation between Worf and Picard before this scene, for this scene to make more sense to me.
Yeah, I think
it just seems very dismissive on Picard's part. Like, well, whatever.
But the way that, and it's always interesting when you add that bit of positivity and negative scene by smirking and a little bit in the eyes as well, and then for Riker to always counter the smirk with a smirk. It's every time. I mean, it's twice, but the two times, it's like they're forcing each other to be more positive. It's very odd, but it's like they're mirroring each other.
That one scene in particular is where he says Klingons choose their friends very wisely, very carefully. If he didn't think you could do it, he wouldn't have asked you. And so it's like, yeah, he's a good friend, that kind of thing going on. But even on the couch, when he was sitting on the couch starting the conversation, he had that smirk. Like, he's a Klingon. What are you going to do? Yeah. It's like...
Yeah. And the way he truth bombs... He wouldn't pick it unless he thought you'd do it. It's like, oh, well, I think he'll do it too. Then it's like, shit. Like it's putting another barrel of weight on Riker's shoulders, to do it. It's really interesting actually, and the shouldered hair is so forced from Riker. It's like, okay, now have the conversation.
Even though we just walked from the bridge to the ready room.
You must have walked in like...
Because, on the bridge it was perfect.
So they filmed
Unless he walked in and went... rubbed his head or something.
Unless they filmed it on a different day. Because the lights have to be moved between sets. Which you almost never notice. But I do like the scene. I do feel like I'm getting a different side of Picard. It doesn't feel out of character for me. It just feels... negotiatory. Yeah.
Next scene is Alexander being, I want to see my dad. You're lying to me. He wants to see me. You're keeping me from him. It's like, no, he's embarrassed. He hurt himself. Yeah. He's like, this is about this Klingon stuff. My mom always said that was so stupid. I love Deanna's response though. It's really important to your father though. So go to bed. That was a great scene.
Yeah, it's I mean, how many of us in the audience forgot that he had a son?
Alexander insisted. I mean, he did. And funny enough, we get mention of Jeremy Astor's mom in this episode.
Do they really?
Yeah, Riker brings up all the people that have died. One person got hit by a disruptor.
See, I recognize the name. I didn't realize that
was... Marla Astor, and then Tasha Yar.
Right.
He should have been like, oh yeah, Jeremy. Yeah. Because Jeremy's still on board. Can he come see me? I don't know.
My 2 sons will come and kill me. I've ignored Jeremy for 4 years. He will kill me. The vengeance of a son I don't care about. But guys, super chat your thoughts, comments, and questions, and vote in the poll. You guys need your guys' support, as you know. Put your thoughts for this episode, etc. But yeah, I mean, this is so tricky for this actor. Like, I feel like he's doing the dialogue as written, which is being a high-pitched, noisy kid who's annoying. But I buy it for this role.
Yeah, he's young enough that he would be like that, I think.
Well, exactly.
So.
I mean, he does a decent job. It's a kid actor, right?
Well, either strike gold with kid actors or you don't, and it's very rare that you do. Some are really good.
11 from Stranger Things, like when they were kids, like all of them were good, like properly good.
Or Haley Joel Osment from Sixth Sense. Like there's some really
Home
good
Alone
ones.
kid.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, her beat down on Worf here is is he being It's hard. Is he being selfish? He's allowed to choose his own death. This is honourable, respectful. His culture. If he was on Klingon, he'd have been dead 3 days ago. it's a harsh thing for her to say, but I think she's trying to say,
Well,
no offense, but your ways are wrong. Do something
no,
else.
she's trying to do her job. She says, as a counselor, all I see is a little boy who's terrified that he's going to lose his father. Just talk to him, kind of thing.
But is it about Worf or is it about Alexander? Like, this is Worf wanting to commit suicide. Is it his job to think about his son or his own pain? That's not. You know what I mean? Like, Deanna entirely ignores how Worf's feeling. But of course, we know how he's feeling. We've had the whole episode on it. Like, it's both sides, right?
Well, she's angry at him, I think.
Yes, exactly.
She's like, maybe it's time to stop thinking about yourself and think about your son. And
That's what
away.
I mean. She's being incredibly biased. We all want her to, be pro-life. But it's interesting, like, she's really siding for one side.
Well, she has to deal with Alexander asking about his father and being upset and concerned and scared. And here's Worf just sitting in sickbay, not being a parent and not talking to his kid.
Yeah, refusing to see him, which we learned later.
Yeah. She's got to do all of that. So, yeah, I'd be a little frustrated, too.
I mean, she missed 5 different chocolate appointments.
Oh, my God, no.
She is not a happy camper.
Yeah. But here, Worf gets introduced to the neurologist person, and they talk about the procedures that, if we use these implants, you'd be able to get like 60% of your mobility back. Mm-hmm. And so they put on the temporary ones to see how you control it. He kicks his leg.
Instantly.
Yeah. And she's like, no, that's good for a first time. But he takes them right off, and he's like, I will not be seen lurching through the corridors like some kind of Klingon Frankenstein monster. Good point. I can see why that would really affect your honor. So.
I mean, day after day, right? It'd be more painful as time goes on. But and it's interesting, again, we said with the gene stuff, what can and can't they do? The fact that they're able to put nodes inside the body to successfully give you control of your legs, which he can control his arms. Like, it's very undershown, but he actually does have motion on the top half, even though they really play it, he doesn't, but he does in several scenes. So he's only disabled on his legs, right? Which means he could wheelchair. Now, potentially, he is hard to move his arms, but he can move them. So, who's right? It's weird. It kind of plays as if he's fully disabled, but he's not. So, 70% of legs is a lot of legs, right? If it's 70% of your entire body, I could get it. But if this is all 90%, that's 70%. Just give him a goddamn chair at tactical. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's thinking obviously warrior level, but this is a significant level of recovery offered, which I'm proud of the Federation to be able to offer, because that's very impressive. And wheelchair isn't the end of the world anyway.
Yeah. Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Does just one of the Dons work? Foley hates Hortons. I don't hate Tim Hortons. Okay. And there is only one. So yes. I will die on that hill.
Oh yeah, obviously. But David and Laura says, I'm still just trying to get over the fact that on a starship you've got a bunch of stacked on strapped barrels. I know I'm stuck back there. Not strapped. That'd be correct way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, there's not that much turbulence. They have artificial gravity stopping. Yeah, it's all safe. It's fine. Yeah, it's like
except when the ship shakes. And
it's like, but it's
we've seen cargo in the cargo bay go flying.
But it's like, if people were that worried about turbulence, they wouldn't have art sculptures on pedestals in their offices, which they all do, right? They would all go flying, all break every time. So clearly, it's like if you live in an earthquake zone, do not put anything on walls. In case the one time, or if you live in a flood area, you have nothing on the ground floor. You get used to it 99% of the time until the barrel falls on you and breaks your spine.
That's why they didn't give him a chair. Dave and Laura, we pulled out a chair for him, command chair, and he lost the Enterprise E because of it. It's funny.
Yeah. That chair was not his luck.
And I love how the other lady comes in and says, there's an experimental procedure we could try, but if it works, she'll get virtually all your mobility back without any artificial implants. And Beverly's, Beverly, it was very subtle, but it's like, she didn't step in and interrupt her. She let her do her thing. She addresses it in a minute, but it's just, it was good. I think it was for everybody involved in this scene, I think it was really well done.
Yeah, Beverly and Gates. My sort of biggest complaint and my biggest compliment as well. She's so goddamn professional here that her acting stays in a range, and she doesn't really go higher or lower. She doesn't ever go to despair. She doesn't ever yell. She's very controlled inside this range. But as a doctor, you've got to be clinical with your patients. So it's extremely relatable, and you buy the subtlety, but it's like she's very locked in her range. So that's what I mean. Like, she's accepting it when she could be more whatever. But very, very good acting.
Yeah. So here she kind of chastises her. You know, we talked about this, and I said no. There's more conventional methods. You're giving him a false sense of hope. You're offering him straws, and he's taking one. He should be worried about what can work and not what might work. I understand her. I'd want to. As a patient, I'd want all the options before presented to me, though. And I think that's why she didn't say anything, because technically that's the right thing to do. But yeah, I understand her frustration here for sure. And the fact that she checked with Starfleet Medical and they had turned her down 3 times to try this on humanoids already.
That's a great little twist there.
It's not at that point yet. Mm-hmm. And then she goes on to say, well, you know, you want to hide behind the rules of bureaucracy when you can save a patient's life. But they get interrupted because they find the survivors of the Denver. So
yeah, that's a really nice little twist, because you get the strong sense that she would never have told Beverly until I was too late that Starfleet has multiple times said no. That she's so, it's fine. It's like, yeah, but that's important information, because then ethically the council says no.
Yeah. So
it's a betrayal within a betrayal. She's been betrayed for asking Worf without, you know, whatever. But she already knows, and I'm assuming Beverly was keeping it inside that the thing had been rejected, that she was going to use that at some point, maybe, or hold on to it. Is it relevant? Don't know. And all of a sudden, double betrayal in the course of 5 minutes. She's like, excuse... This is not how you doctor. But also, she's so goddamn confident at saving Worf. It's again, they're so both professional. It's really interesting.
Yeah. But then the other lady offers to help with the triage for the...
yeah.
She's like, absolutely, come and help. All the doctors we can get.
Just don't kill anybody.
Because they said they need to convert 3 cargo bays into triage for the 517 people. They said that earlier.
Or the shuttle bay set.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Quiet you.
Next scene, totally forgot about. Worf, proud man, uses the implant, the temp implants things to be able to stand.
Yeah.
And such an interesting performance, because he's a man who is scared, put on a brave face, and he's sort of almost overly happy. It's almost like an over-the-top, I'm fine. It's oddly disingenuous, because I think it would be, until it goes wrong. I quite like this little scene. It's sad.
Well, he does say to Alexander, there are tough times ahead. Well, there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Then he collapses.
And
he yells at Alexander to get out of here.
Yeah. You feel the man's shame. And if you're a big fan of ceilings, my God, this scene
shows off the ceiling.
You see this, which I always love how they light these sets, because it's just flat lighting, but you see the light above the light, because the light is not the white plastic, it's the thing. It's very useful for reference when you see how they light.
Yeah.
But yeah, good little scene for Worf, and yeah, he's so brave and yet not. You know, it's a good balance.
Danny Janie is here. The bridge crew has absolutely no chill. I grouped this episode with The Loss and Deanna's spectacular freakout. Riker does double duty handing out hard truths and verbal smacks. No, Riker is fantastic in this episode. Yeah.
He's punching above his weight class of like, I'm saying how I feel. I kind of wish he wasn't dropped halfway through the episode. Like, there's no resolution for him. I know it's not about him, but he was so strong in the first third. Like, so strong. But that's okay. And Danny, we have our next Trekyards, just so you know, on Saturday, the 27th. So next Saturday. So jump in and say hello. because that should be quite a fun one. I'm going to show off. Well, we're going to show off things we got for Christmas, New Year's. Yeah, be fun.
Well, he's going to. Mine are scattered all over the house.
Yeah, that. And maybe, Stuart, I'll get out my endgame tricorder to see if we can make it to an S.
No. You are an S.
Thanks.
Take that as a compliment, but a backhanded compliment. Anyways, triage is going on. There's a dead body. She didn't try the. Yeah. She didn't try the regular treatment, the conventional treatment. Danny Janie, $50. Yay! Thank you, Danny Janie.
Glory to you and your
super chats.
Yes.
So Beverly's kind of pissed. She's like, the conventional treatment probably would have saved his life. Yeah, but I got a lot of research and information from his death. So, plus the medicine I used is way ahead of the other two.
Apart from the death part.
Well, yeah. It could have worked.
See, this one I'm slightly more torn on. Because I would imagine... Okay, so... They go through several possibles that 2 of the 3 didn't work, right? Explicitly said. Now, she could be lying, but I don't get the sense she's a liar. She's just a lever-outer of facts. Slightly different. I would imagine that the third thing that she says could have worked would have done something to stop the fourth thing from working, is a sense I got. Either commit to the possible work, or the probably not, but would absolutely work. So there's a sense I got there. But I absolutely think she would have asked the person... Because I don't think she's that unethical to do it without permission. She doesn't do the thing on Worf without permission, right? So I think she offered the person, I'm really sorry, I've got 2 choices. One thing, 50%, one thing, 40%, but more health. Like, she'll rationalize...
Can I use this medicine on you? Sure.
Well, possibly.
I'm not a doctor. I don't fucking do what you got to do.
Possibly. But I feel like she would ask permission. And I think... Fine.
I see what you're saying. I think that's funny.
Yeah. And I think, I think she did think it could work. There's no malpractice here. There's just the... Now, this is where I'm a bit more like, if it had saved the person, Bev would be annoyed but accept it. And it's just a risk factor, right? All the medicines are risk factors. As Beverly says later with the thing that this will kill him. He's already dead. Like, that's a risk factor, right? That could have double killed him. You know what I mean, right? So the way Beverly plays is like, I'm not going hypothetical because the what if isn't worth playing here.
Yeah.
You did cause his death. That's all I can judge here, right? He might have done the other thing. Don't know. Possibly, maybe. Like, again, they both play it right here, I think, like from a conceptual point of view. It's just the roll of the dice on what happens, right?
And then the Dr. Russell, I think, I forget her name. Anyway, she's like, I got a long road ahead of me. The data that I gathered is invaluable.
That's where it gets weird, yeah.
Yeah, what if years from now you have a family member, somebody you care about that is saved by this Medicaid? And I love that Beverly just shuts right down. I'm not going to play hypothetical with you right now.
Yep. Well, it's the Baku question again from Insurrection. By doing a thing here, could we save 1 million people? Do you think the 1 million people's families would appreciate that choice?
Yeah.
And that's what the theoretical long-term it's all numbers game doctor is thinking, versus the it's fine, we'll let the future people die. Today's the patient. Yeah. Reminds me very much of, actually, it's a whole episode of the Voyager episode with the Cardassian hologram with the EMH, how he's using unethical torture methods to save lots of lives.
Yep. That's exactly what this is parallel.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a really, really good episode, really good performances. I'm saving millions. I killed thousands. I saved millions.
It's like Nazi scientists and doctors that. It's exactly.
But she doesn't mean evil, which is obviously a slight distinction there. But like everyone she's trying to save is a pure save. And it's just.
It's not an easy answer.
No.
Yes, it could save millions of lives in the future.
Yep.
It's just. What was one life worth? Like, it's the needs of the many thing. It's not. There's no easy answer, and that's why it's called ethics.
Yep, and that's the different doctor's approach. Well, it's like I'm sure in the Discovery episode, well, Strange World episode, on the Klingon planet where they're fighting, like if Chapel used a medicine to save a probably dying man that could have been used better for a guy in 2 hours that wasn't probably dying, you're using medicine, right, that could be better used, but every person is trying to save, even if then they die. And we do see many times, there was one episode where someone like overdoses to kill the patient with a drug, which could be for someone else, but they're like, yeah, but it's better I kill this person peacefully now and waste the medicine than use it to save someone else. So it's like an immediate problem. It's interesting,
instead
right?
of them suffering for time. Yeah. But anyway, Beverly shuts down her research. Research on the ship is over. You're relieved of duty.
Yep, and again, very calm, very professional, like super well acted. Yeah. And she is pissed.
Yeah. But guys, hit that like button if you haven't already, and super chat in with any thoughts, comments, questions you have. We want to hear them.
Yeah.
Because now we get the Picard showing up at Beverly's office. I'm just on my way to see Worf, yo. And he sits down and he's like, so you relieved her of... That's cool. Have you thought about maybe trying this experimental tech? I don't know. He seems off. He just seems off this entire episode.
So this scene I really like.
I do too. But he's got the smirk again.
He does
the
have
whole
the smirk.
goddamn thing.
Super smirk. Because this scene is really rare in that you can tell he's absolutely talking to an ex-girlfriend as an equal. Right? He's putting on that friendliness that is very rare in these sorts of meetings. Because he is trying to talk to her as a person and get past her doctor exterior, to which she has now recessed herself. As he argues, you're gonna stop him from committing suicide, you're gonna lock him in a thing. Like, she is now in mega doctor mode to the point of lunacy, right? As he points out. So he's like, I have to be Jean-Luc to talk to Beverly to try and get her out of this mode. So he's really interesting because he knows no one's in the wrong, no one's in the right. This is a situation, but I keep being phoned by Worf. He doesn't like anything you're doing. You're being unethical because at what point does patient wishes not matter? It doesn't.
The way he says it is, if this works, Worf will be alive and have full mobility. If it doesn't work, he'll die, and if you don't do it, he's going to kill himself. So there's only really one option here. Try it.
Yeah, but
you're rolling the dice. You're gambling, but he's going to kill himself regardless. So.
Yeah, it's just his tone of the friendliness, the smirk, it's odd, but I do buy it, and yeah, it's rare you see these two as equals, as friends, genuine friends, and you really feel it here. 5 years of actors being together, you buy it 100%. He's in negotiation mode, I've got to convince you to be a different kind of doctor.
Yeah,
I like it. It's well done.
I just wish we would have seen a scene between Worf and Picard.
That is missing, yeah.
But he is on his way to see him.
Because I don't necessarily know who Picard sides with, right? Is he being so removed from it emotionally he's just going technical? I can't tell. A bit of everything, I'm guessing, but is he... What has Worf said, as you say? What was that one-on-one like to justify where Picard's standing? I don't know.
Well, I just love again another great Picard speech. It says, you want him to go from contemplating suicide to accepting his condition and living with a disability, but it's too far. The line must be drawn here.
Yeah. Kailash. Yes.
He says, and the road between covers a lifetime of values and beliefs. He can't do it, Beverly. But perhaps he can come part way if he can be persuaded to forgo the ritual in order to take this chance of regaining the kind of life he needs. I think it's great. It's very well written, very well done.
And keep that in mind for a second. Terrence says, whatever happened, was she ever charged with criminal negligence that woman literally committed a homicide? If the guy gave consent and there was a chance of succeeding, should every doctor whose thing doesn't work be homicide? No, clearly not.
Yeah.
Like, she's not an evil doctor. She's clearly played as a technical doctor, but whatever.
And she tried the first two conventional ones first.
Yeah, and if the guy's like, he's probably going to die in 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
A or B, and okay, you just said about... Oh, yeah, the one thing I didn't rub him the wrong way was that Picard was incredibly certain that Worf couldn't deal with it. It's past his ability. He can't do it. Super certain. More certain than Picard normally is.
That's what he said with Riker, too.
That's what he said with Riker. Like, it's not mean to Klingons, because he doesn't know them that well. Like, it's all whatever. But he's really certain he's just too far. When did they ever say too far? People can't do that. People are above them, right? It's all about evolving as people. That I thought was the weirdest thing.
Well, the last thing he says, too, is a Klingon may not be good at accepting defeat, but he knows all about taking risks.
Which is a great line. I wonder, and again, missed scenes, if there was a scene conceptually where like Worf complained to the embassy, and like, Ambassador Trudach emails Picard saying, "Excuse me, can we have a Zoom call? Picard, kill him! Get him!" Like if there was another call, if he's getting political pressure, we're removed from that, but that would also explain why he's like, trust the system. Because Gowron wants my head right now. You know what I mean? Like, is there that layer? Don't know. Maybe. Could be.
Yeah. I think this episode could have had a few extra scenes put in to help out with context.
But you were already slightly bored by it, so if it had been longer, would that have been better?
Well, no. But it could have been. That's what I mean. Those scenes would have helped. I want to see a scene between Picard and Worf, and maybe the Klingon representative for the Federation, if there is one, saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, we like procedural stuff, right? So that is kind of our jam. Yeah. I wonder if this is a stripped down script. Not in a bad way, just I wonder.
Yeah. And there's no real lulls in this episode either, necessarily. It's very pacing's pretty good.
Although it is kind of a constant 7 in pacing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly.
It stays extremely consistent to the point that you're just kind of like keep going. It's almost like one giant scene. It's kind of odd that way. Not a complaint. It's just there's no music. There's no real 3-act structure either. Like, especially as you learn about the procedure super early.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a complaint.
Anyway, guys, hit that like button. We're at 42 likes. I'd like to get up to 50 if possible, and keep the super chats coming. We want to hear from you guys. So,
a couple more would be swell.
They'd be super.
I mean, literally.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
It would be great if a fan could do a super cut of every time we make that joke. Because we're so genuine each time, but it's so many times.
Supercuts.
Oh no, I did it as well.
Uh-huh.
We're so super.
But speaking of being super, Riker's
this,
in the next scene.
This is a scene. And it's funny how I thought, oh, the knife from Lower Decks.
Yeah.
What I thought.
Comes in and says, I've been studying this ritual of yours. I think it's disgusting. Shame on you. But yeah, just disregard for life, and you cloak your suicide in notions of honor, and it's a whole look at me, look how brave I'm being. It's a real. I could have sworn when I was watching this time, I thought for sure that Riker threw the knife on the ground the first time, because there's no way Worf would be able to get it. Where he sets it, later Worf has it. He actually hands it to Alexander. It's like he could have just, if he wanted to, would have been not very honorable. But I still could have swore he threw it on the ground. But anyway, he's like, there's a lot of people that. How many lives have you saved? How many people care about you? You're depriving us of you essentially. And he goes on to mention everybody. Remember Sandoval, hit with a disruptor blast 2 years ago? She lived for about a week. And then Fang Li, Marla Astor, and I'm like, Jeremy. And then Tasha Yar. How many they held on to life to the very end? How many people have we watched die? But yeah, here's that whole sense of feeling noble. Look at me, aren't I courageous? I'm an honorable Klingon.
Dane Janey makes us promise that we should have wine for Sabrosa. I could be prepared to make that a drunk girl's review. That feels fair to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've only seen that once when I was in my pre 10 years old, because why the hell would I go back and rewatch it? So I'll watch it essentially for the first time. So that is
Yeah.
exciting.
And I could have also sworn that at some point somebody called him a coward here. I thought Riker would say something about being a coward before he left. He did, but not in so many words. He said, Klingons don't put themselves above their family or their friends.
Well, he's not being he's not Picard saying, "You coward, Mr. Worf. I hate you. I hate you." No, this is a really, again, Frakes. This is the scene that Frakes is like, I am gonna Shakespeare the shit out of this, because he knows where he's going, right? As a character, as an actor, so he's everything. He can go over the top because he knows he's not going to do it. He knows he can basically play the emotions of Mr. Worf, as is the point of this scene. But it's really because once he points out the genuine way you're meant to do it, Worf can't refute that, right? Like it's a checkmate. So
Worf's like, but he's a child.
That's cool. So that is great.
What's it say? Hold on, where is it here? The son of a Klingon is a man the day he can hold a blade. True. Not fully Klingon. Excuses.
Yeah.
He should have said, you're a coward, and Worf would have said, if you were any other man, I'd kill you where you stand. Stand.
I'd love to see you try, Worf. You're disabled. What? Paralyzed. What? No, it's really, really, really well played scene. And yeah, I love what you said there because it's a quote. These other people fought for life and you're fighting for death. That hits home so well there because and I'm let's assume also not to Riker's not to be Darny for not remembering how many security officers died in the course of duty that Worf knows personally. They had to sign letters for to their families, and here you are able to do everything except walk and everything involved with legs, and you're to kill me now today, right now. Yeah, it's well said. Now, if we knew more about the child and his relationship, father and son, it'd be a bit of a stronger payoff of, I don't want to see him stab me into the blood. It's like, well, do they love him? I don't know. It should have more payoff, right? It doesn't, because there's no real relationship there. But I'm also left to wonder specifically, as you say, the knife is absolutely left in reach, because you can still he can only do this, but you can still, he obviously did get it right. He's choosing not to kill himself then, but I am assuming a lot of physical strength to stab a Klingon, because he's got a reinforced ribcage. That's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And B, it's like say that technicality of suicide doesn't need to heaven, right? It can't be. It has to be you kill me. So it's a.
But you have to do the ritual. He would stab himself, because Riker even said that. Stab yourself and then wipe the blood on the sleeve of whoever gave you the knife.
Is that what he's? I thought he said Alexander would stab him. Because he said Alexander pulls it out of his chest. Go back and.
I will check.
Okay, do, because I was pretty sure he said you stabbed me and that's why I'm choosing you. Because also if they're that crippled,
he says what you really mean is it would be too hard to look at your son and tell him to bring you the knife. Watch you stab it into your chest. Or your heart, sorry. Then pull the knife out of your chest and wipe your blood on his sleeve.
Oh.
That's the exact quote.
Oh.
So it has to be the complete ritual for him to go to Stovacor, I would assume. So that's why he wouldn't do it, even though he still had access to the knife.
You kind of needed a scene then of him looking at the knife longingly, because the way, especially on a standard efficient TV in the 90s, you would easily miss the flung knife on the bed. It's so small, right? He just has it next scene. It comes across a bit strange because would you guess not. Yeah. But it's a really good scene, and Worf's minimal acting is quite impressive here for thinking and being and existing, and yeah, it's good. Yeah, Danny, exactly, it is.
So Alexander comes in next scene. He's like, "I need you to help me. Anything, Father. I've taught you about Klingon customs, the beliefs which we value. According to tradition, I must take my life after suffering this kind of injury." And Alexander looks down. He's like, "Okay, but I've decided to break with tradition. I've decided to live." Surprise! I liked it. I thought it was good. And here, take this, put it back in our quarters. I don't need it. Sweet. They each give each other a little smile. Yay.
Again,
very short scene, but it was well done.
Yeah, not exactly remembering the pace of this episode. I did not know where this was going to go. I was kind of surprised. Even though it's so minimally acted by Michael Dorn, I genuinely felt the I choose to live. It very minimal, because he's still stoic for his son, but I absolutely felt the choice, the turn. It was really, really well done. And yeah, I'm sure they told Alexander to underact. Like, you're going to accept either choice and just go with it, right? Don't be surprised. Don't just good choice, father. Like, it's big. It does work, right? It oddly kind of works. He feels maladjusted as a son because he is. It comes across right. Yeah, it's a good little scene.
So then we get after talking to Starfleet and some soul searching, I'm decided to let this procedure go through. It's a medical log from Dr. Crusher.
Wish it felt like she fought it more. Like there was a very minimal sense of.
Yeah,
but it's fine. Just they kind of skip about it slightly.
Yeah. So Alexander's talking about school and all that, and I'll see you later, Dad. And then Worf's like, if I die, somebody's got to care for him. It can't be my parents because they're elderly. Will you look after him? You've been a great help since he's arrived on the ship.
Yep.
Please take care of him. If it's too much, she's like, no, I'd be honored. And then as she walks out past Nurse Nagawa, I just want her to say, please fucking make sure he survives. Out the door.
Children will remove my chocolate time. I can't let that happen. No, this is like I said. This is way more powerful knowing all good things, and parallels and such. Like this is really the start of this. Like he has utter trust in her, and it comes across really well here. It's good. I wonder if Michael's butt was sore by this point. And then we get on the Enterprise C bridge, sort of. Really stripped down. I mean, this is a very boring room, like just like depth-wise. They can almost pull everything out because it's very different, but also the same set, swing set. And now comes a lot of technobabble for a long time. It's actually very long, this set of sequences.
Yeah, we won't get into the technobabble necessarily, but so they separate his brainstem, and
okay.
Well, yeah. Still on life support. And we get a very procedural, by the book, every day in Starfleet, in the ready room. Oh, so yeah. Our survey's got to be delayed because we got to drop off these survivors, and there's a minor fluctuation of starboard warp coil. Yeah, I've scheduled a stress maintenance test. It's great though. It's great because it's like this is shit that happens every day, and in this episode, it actually works really well because it's that look up. Have you heard anything? No. It's great.
And these are two of the best close-ups these actors have ever seen as well. Like, Patrick's one is so goddamn detailed.
I thought the same thing.
I need to save those, because those are, like, perfect resolution quality versions of their face. And you see Patrick's little 5 o'clock shadow coming in. It's like, damn it, we filmed this at 4 p.m. I've got my stubble coming in.
Speaking of, they start the operation at, like, 8 a.m. And when they're closing up, it's, like, 2:40 or something. Or 12:40. And I'm like, they did this over lunch hour? Seriously? These poor people.
What? I mean, lunchtime in Andoria on a Wednesday is how they serve it, and that's on a 4 p.m.
And the fact there's only 3 people in the operating room.
That
I wish there was a few more.
Yeah. Although I'm appreciating...
For a surgery like this, for Christ's sakes.
I appreciate Nagawa got words. That was nice. Gotta give massive credit to the fact that we, for the first time, see a Klingon spine makeup, because that's a pretty substantial thing to add to a Klingon, and that is a distinct, like, that's behind them at all times.
Yeah, I think it's the first makeup we see, but we did see it on the statue in his room.
Yes.
Kalis. No, it's lacking from that.
Oh.
Because it was Kalis fighting his brother, and there was no, like, spinal ridges, and then we see this episode, and it's like, wait a minute, what? Kalis should have spinal.
I feel like Feklar had them when the lady made them. I feel like that creature was more... I know it's obviously a bigger creature. I felt that had some spines.
Maybe.
But it's a really good makeup, and it makes you think, like, damn, that's going to be uncomfortable to be stabbing against the the uniform at all times, and you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty, like, yeah. And I'm assuming they made a body double because there's a bit where you kind of see in it.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
It's if it was now, it'd be far more graphic. I kind of wish it was one more step graphic to kind of see a little, because it's really, like, it's a horrible. I hate the scene as a visual, like what it means, what they're doing to him, removing a spine. My goodness. But I kind of want to see one more layer of
Now, the scene with this spine in the thing, like, did they remove his fucking spine?
Yep.
Did they though?
Yep.
Because they didn't. They didn't. Because she's scanning it for DNA and his whole spine out. That's abrupt. Later, when they're laying in the spinal cord into his spine and closing him up, that spine is still in that thing on the table behind him.
Well, they probably made two spines for redundancy. Oh, well, that's actually a double joke, isn't it? No, they make two, right? They don't want the 3D printed to be like, no, we need another one. It'll take 4 minutes. They try to make two. No, they absolutely removed the spine, right? That's clearly the inference. Like, the spine broke and the...
It is, but it's the spinal cord they're replacing. That's all they're replacing.
So I guess in theory you have to print a spinal column to get the cord inside correctly matched. Yes, I guess.
Perhaps.
But they said he broke his spine.
But I don't know why
well.
they're scanning if this is a replica spine to get the spinal cord.
Well, exactly. No, this is the real one. That's what I'm saying. They scanned this to get the real one. So they had to remove it either way. Yeah, they'd have to.
Not necessarily, but okay. But anyway, it's just anyway. Yeah, they scan it, but there's
It also
there's
drips
an error.
blood, Stuart. In several, so it goes, bloop. There's a few little drops. They're quite gross into the blood pool. It's really quite.
I know.
It's
but
good.
Later, it's still there. Like, you want your old spine back? It's still there.
Oh my god!
You can like
trophy.
mount it and put it on your wall.
Or
I want it. I'd want it.
It's like appendix, tonsil, spine, you know, on the cabinet. But this would have been the ultimate loophole to get an 1860s pistol.
What do you mean?
Give a spine to a predator.
Ah.
Give him your own spine.
But he wants the skull on it, though.
Well, there's spine too, I'm sure, somewhere.
He likes the skull with the spinal cord.
Yeah.
Or the
It's
spine.
half a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, there was an error scanning, but she's got to do it manually. She thought she fixed it, but anyway.
And that was interesting because it's like
Technobabble.
It again, very professional. But yeah, things go wrong. Of all the things that could have gone wrong, it's super minimal considering. But yeah.
And we see a cool painting of the Enterprise D and the refit behind Alexander.
I was wondering what that is. Yeah, the refit.
And there's a TOS one there too.
Never seen it before. We'll probably never see it again, but there it is.
I've seen it once before, and I was like, it was apparently on the Enterprise D because I think Rick Sternbach did it. It's also got behind Deanna is like medical stuff. But anyway, yeah, I seen it in a book or something. Like, I don't remember seeing that. Now I know what episode it's from, so thank God. Great thing to have in the waiting room.
And it's real big. That is a
yeah.
Like, if that was painted, not scanned and printed, that is a hell of a paint.
So now we got a spinal cord drone, and they lay it into his spine.
This is extremely. Don't like it.
Yeah, they start closing him up, and now look, they got 27 minutes left before brain death, so they cover him. But look, the spine's still back there.
I mean, Stuart, do you really think they were going to move that prop just for the second half of the shoot? They just didn't move it.
That's his original spine. I guess they 3D printed him a new one and then put the grown spinal cord in it.
Yeah, so it have to be, yeah. Pretty gross.
Anyway, he dies. I mean, the tissue starts growing, and
anyway, he dies.
He dies.
And that was it, guys, for season 5, episode 16. Next episode, we're going to meet Worf, the new Klingon tactical officer. Very similar, played by Michael Dorn. And he goes to be in DS9, if you didn't know. You know, amazing. Right?
Yeah.
I will commend them though. They play as death extremely straight.
As they should.
Yes, but it's very sincere, and I imagine some people were convinced at the time for those several seconds.
Although I hate when she puts the cortical stimulator on his forehead, because you actually see the prosthetic go in. Like it's supposed to be like a bone, but it like when she pushes it on,
right,
it presses. It's a little bit like, oh, seriously.
I imagine how many takes that took, because like there's a little bit of like sticky tape on it again. Like it's not. These things fall off, right? But yeah, a lot of procedural. And yeah, Beverly comes out. I mean, Exana takes like a champ. I mean, he really takes it well, considering. I give him all credit for this bit.
Yeah, and Beverly, she's crying. I mean,
it's good.
It's great. He insists on seeing his father's body.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad. I really was worried for the 1 second that he'd walk in and there'd be a just to really heighten the sense of death. Like, no, don't. I'm so glad it wasn't there.
I kind of love when she says, "Turn on the monitors." Like, we turn those off for just that reason, but turn them on now.
I do think, though, and I'm sure most people agree, it is a bit abrupt and unmotivated. He just, and not just like his body, like his proper head, like it's a wake reaction almost.
He took a breath. He took his breath. Yeah.
It's because normally it'd be beep, boom, 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 like it'd be the subtle version, but obviously they're off. So it's a little bit. We've said this often. Abrupt endings is on that spectrum for sure. Yeah. It's not that bad, and it is magic, because Klingon magic, don't explain it really, is just a thing. But it's like, oh hey Raj. But it's like, it's on that line, right? Where are you on the line? Do you think is it fine, or is it a little bit too abrupt?
I think it's fine personally. But it's like you gotta get the happy ending in. And yeah, as we've said many times with TNG, it's like the last 5 minutes. It's like, and boom, everything's wrapped up.
Cue that same warp out shot.
Yeah.
But Stuart, we've got 52 votes in the poll. I'm going to do a new poll with 45 people watching, which is fantastic. Was this a... Ooh. Interesting split. 42% say it's a strong moral story. And also 42% say an episode trying, but not quite there. With only 15% saying boring. Talky show. So cool. That's a strong C+ average then, I would say.
Yes.
I'll do another poll.
Guys, hit the like button before I sneeze. Jesus. 47 likes. I want to get to 50. 3 more likes. Please do it. Coming to the end. We got another scene or two here to close out. But get your scores ready in your head. We're going to do super chat scoring. You can start throwing those in now if you wanted, actually. Out of 10 for this episode. But we'll give our final reactions and our scores. We want to hear from you guys. This is the way it is. And then, if you're just joining us and haven't liked, we need 2 more likes to get to 50. So you can be one of those 2. We'd appreciate it. And we'll see what kind of holiness Commander Calkins can provide for us, for you guys to vote on.
There's a bit of a fan poll.
Okay. Of our weekly lives, which are you most enjoying? Trek versus game show, rankings, tech, ships, and characters, TNG episode reviews, or to be honest, I enjoy the Trekyards the most. Go out.
I'm interested.
Because we've done 4 days of lives this week, so
yeah. Let us know. But yes, Worf lives.
Sounds like the name of a horror story.
Yeah.
Worf lives.
And then you get a really... actually, we'll say as well, I was about to say this is a very tense scene. I was genuinely tense when Worf was, on the table, and even though there's almost no music, they do a very good job making you feel it. So it's very well achieved tension there, even though I know it's going to be fine. And this next scene of her and the Doctor, it's tense. Beverly is that classic, not gonna.
until she gets to the point where she just lays it on. Yeah.
And you can imagine the other doctor's like, bitch, I saved your officer. I did an amazing once-in-a-lifetime thing. I set records and you're bitching at me. Super calm, like, good for her, right? But she's really getting eaten out in terms of, like, what are the phrases? Like, she saved this guy's life, right?
Chewed out.
Chewed out, thank you. And she takes the abuse really well there.
Yes.
And because she gets no last word, so I was most thinking, like, she just leaves, you know?
Yeah. The whole, you can't admit that my procedure saved your friend and your officer. Look, I'm delighted Worf's going to recover. You gambled, he won.
Uh-huh.
But not all your patients are so lucky, as we saw earlier in this episode.
Yep. The guy you killed.
You scare me, Doctor. You risk your patients' lives to justify it in the name of research. Genuine research takes time, sometimes a lifetime of painstaking, detailed work in order to get any results. But not for you. You take shortcuts. Right through living tissue. Put your research in front of your patients' lives. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a violation of our most sacred trust. Yeah.
But she did just save the guy's life.
And then enjoy your laurels. I'm sure you'll be hailed as, whatever. Enjoy your laurels, because I don't think I could.
Yeah. Yeah, there must be other times in Trek where Beverly has gone against the rules to do a radical procedure. It's always circumstantial, right? But there must be a time that she's also, playing a hypocrite here. I can't really think of any, but is she that clear-cut a doctor?
Well, the Hippocratic Oath says do no harm.
But they saved. Because she's saying, I wouldn't be okay to sleep if I had done this to Worf, even though, lived. But I'm sure McCoy has certainly risked this level of whatever to save a patient. And EMH certainly has, because, he's manic, he's crazy. Phlox, he'll risk anything with a bloody bugworm. Throw it on your pelvis. Oh, you're cured because I killed you? Yeah. Could have saved you, though. I don't know. It's a bat. I don't know. Yeah.
In the next scene, we get Worf's feet with a nipple prosthetic on each one, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Toe spur. I don't know if you know, but you do know. The Klingon boots have that little spike.
Yeah.
That's a Klingon toe spur that apparently they cut off when they're young, but they carried over to their armor as a toe spike. Oh. Cool, eh?
He's got.
But it's a legit nipple prosthetic. Like, I'm sorry, but it's
But it's odd he's got spines down his legs. I don't think I've ever seen spined legs before.
Well, did you ever see him in shorts?
Can't say I have.
Maybe it just starts at the ankle and goes down to the feet. Who knows?
Yeah, I've just never even once considered they have spikes or blade, because they're blades, right? Essentially, they're bones extruding that are blades, just very dull blades in his feet. I guess it makes martial art kicks very effective because it's little blades. I don't know.
Yeah. And I love the poles that they have there for the physiotherapy, with those very visible weld marks, and underneath is a cool Starfleet futuristic thing. I don't think in the future you'd have those weld marks. They just used actual physiotherapy equipment and threw on a little delta on it.
So it's because it actually has to support the guy's weight. It's actually got to be real metal and real strong. That's why.
Yeah.
And of course, that pad is a door chime. It's a door pad. Like, why is there a little on a frame? That's what it is. That's all it is. Yep, someone felt the need to put that there. Wow.
But it's like, no, don't go help him. You know your father's wishes. No, I would appreciate some help from my son, who runs in and does fuck all. He touches his hands.
Yeah.
Hi, Daddy.
The 4'3" weakling is going to help keep him up.
I would love to see the next one or two steps, and then he just falls on Alexander.
If you're human, I would have broken your spine. Too soon. Sorry. But emotionally, it works really well, and I love the face he gives him at the end. It's very.
Yeah.
He'll be in more episodes, won't he? He'll be. We'll see this bond between father and son really grow.
We will work together. Yes, sir. The end.
They also mentioned way earlier that they say his parents are too old to take Alexander. Have they already had Alexander and given him back?
Yes, because they're too old.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They bring him back to the ship and drop him off and say, "Look,
Right.
we can't deal with him."
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember, because he's so non in the show that he could also not be around, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, gravity. That's okay. The gravity control. Okay, I could buy that. That's not a bad reason.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
It's a good ending. It's he's got a way to go, but he's trying. Yeah, but he ain't no Nog. He won't be hurt through multiple episodes or affected by it in any way.
Yeah.
Or remember his son next week.
Hypnower says that was a hard quiz. I think she means poll, because I like the rankings in the quizzes. Sorry, the game show. Not one vote for the game show. I guess you guys don't like the Trek versus fun that we have. Damn it.
Although, of course, these are the TNG reviewer people who are
Exactly.
So if they,
I thought that when you wrote the poll.
Yeah.
Because it jumped way up right away. And it's like, well, we do a whole bunch of stuff here, so these viewers might not be the other viewers.
if you did the poll on that day, it'd be probably skewed a different way.
We'll try it.
Right.
All right, guys, that is the end. We're going to give our final reviews and discussion points and rankings out of 10. We want to hear from you guys, though. Super chat in right now with your scores out of 10. I will read those after the fact. We would love to get a few more super chats, absolutely,
That's
in
what
here.
funds the channel, guys, so do help us out.
$2, $5, doesn't matter. Even the last super chat snipe of $1 would be appreciated, but anything will help out, so please do. And, yeah, and if you just put it in the regular chat, Sam will read those when we're done. But we want to hear from you guys, what you rank this out of 10 for TNG.
So, Stuart.
Yes, that's my name.
What do you think of this episode, and has our discussion changed your appreciation or lack thereof today?
I think it's maybe changed it a little bit, yeah. It's a good moral story for sure. The way they lay it out is very ABC. I mean, she had to have killed somebody earlier in the episode to make the ending more poignant. They covered those bases. I liked Riker in it. Worf was great. Alexander was okay. Beverly was spot on. Picard was way off base for me though, and Geordi and Data are kind of like, peace out. I wish it would have been a group shot of them like visiting him in the room, at least, because they weren't even. Did they stop by to say hi? I don't know. The moral implications of it are interesting. It's hard to give a yes or no answer either way as to if it's right or not, because I understand it from each perspective. As a researcher, you want to use what you've learned to help people, and sometimes there might be risks involved, and the data that you get from those risks at the end is helpful to make advancements and make it better. But at the same time, I understand that a life is important. You shouldn't be experimenting necessarily when there's a chance to, like a more conventional way that could actually save a life. It's a perfect Star Trek moral dilemma. And I think the episode title reflects that for sure. Learned a bit about Klingon anatomy and a few things like that, which is cool. That's definitely a bonus. Seen the surgical suite. I mean, we see it with Picard, his heart transplant as well. I kind of like seeing it to see what the future surgical bays are like. And I do like the red onesies. I think they're kind of cool. Other than that, I mean, Riker's again, we learn a lot about Klingon tradition as well in this. It's a kind of an exposition dump for Klingons, and I really like the way Riker approached it as a friend, basically turning the tradition and all of the religious and moral aspects of the Klingon people against him by saying, it should be your first son. And, I think that's great. And when Worf objects, he's like, no. When a Klingon son can pick up a blade, he's old enough. He's a man at that point. It's great. Use it against them. Again, the scenes with Riker and Picard, I think the one scene in particular, the short little procedural one with the close-ups was great to see. We see that a lot of time in other shows as well when there's a surgery happening. What are other people up to? I think that was fine. Other than that, it's a very by the numbers episode, I think. And like you said earlier, pacing-wise, it's great, but it never gets above like a 7 for excitement or anything exceptional, So it's kind of mediocre in that regard. So we're going to do this season first or all of TNG? What are we doing first?
Depends if you ask me first. What I think. Depends. Are we scoring at the end, or do you score first?
Oh, we always do the discussion and the score, and then you do yours.
Well, there you go. Out of 10 for all TNG and for season 5.
All TNG. Give it a 7. For season 5, I'd probably give it a 6.7.
So it's cruising speed, the episode.
Yeah, I would say so. Not that invested in Worf anyway.
Oh.
Because I know he goes on to do like a whole other show. So
2 other shows.
Yeah.
And many games, which not canon.
How about you? What do you?
He's voting the poll and Super Chat. You all thought, guys, come on, read 3 or 5s to see what you guys think. Sorry, Stuart, I interrupted you from your most important thing you've said all live.
What does the great and powerful Commander Calkins think? I'm not worthy to hear this. I'll take out my earpiece. And make him yawn. Hey, that happens every time I take this out? Let's see. Oh.
Now I just judge your terrible commute timing.
All right. So what do you think of this episode?
Yes, I liked it. It's more Star Trek than other episodes, but it's a Star Trek in the more TOS, ethical, talky, cheap, effective. It's very well written, and it pushes everyone in different ways, which is why some people felt out of character, but it gives you different facets. It's not just the stern Picard. It's not just the I don't agree Riker. Everyone has a bit of nuance here. Which is interesting, if not necessarily super exciting. They do quite a good job balancing the rights of the story, although of course it's they're obviously leaning one way, but we don't want to kill one of our leads, so fair enough. Could have done with another Klingon in it, although it would have confused it even more, as in a representative saying do this Picard, whatever. But it's already cramming a good amount in, having to introduce a new character, the different procedures, show the other one working, show that it's actually quite packed. There's not really any twists or turns except his death. But it's not even played like a twist. It stays at the same 7 pacing somehow. Like, he dies. It's a flat line of pacing. Not bad, just odd. But
I forget, when he died, was there music? Because I think the lack of music might have made this seem more mediocre than it actually was.
Yeah, I think there's a lack of music there. It's very lack of music, the whole thing. With lots of conversations like music. Yeah, which doesn't drive pacing, it just is. I really like the casting of the other Doctor. She's, you need lots of hers and lots of Beverly's, right? They sort of balance each other out a little bit. It's like George Lucas. You need a better director to help his stories be betterly written. Because he could do some things well, not other things. You need often a lot of balance. Good for Beverly. I did not realise it was a full Beverly episode. It really is. It's just so many scenes. But as I said at the start, she delivers them all in a range, a very specific range. If her action range is 100, she gives it all between 60 and 75. There's very little deviance from that, which does not make it feel very human. She never goes to her quarters and has a little, oh, why is he doing this? What? But she's a very high-end professional. Like, top of her tier, top of her thing. So this should be normal. That's exactly how she would be, right? And it's not professional to yell at your fellow esteemed doctor in the middle of anything or in her office. So that all makes sense too, right? It's just, as an audience member, it's not quite as exciting. That said, the first Picard and Riker scene is genuine interpersonal clash, and you feel it, right? It's well done, and Riker's excellent. I'm sure he loved it. So performances, it's very, very high. Pacing, it's better than average. This is one of those ones where if it was more exciting, the very good writing would stand out more. But it's possibly a bit more soapy in that it's just letting the scenes exist without that push. But it would be more melodramatic if they Worf's dead. Oh, he's fine again. Like it has a hollowness of death because it is flat. It's odd that way, right? And yeah, literally a cameo from Brent, a cameo from LeVar. But you know what? They have enough, right? It's good to see Beverly run an episode. I'm absolutely fine with it. So no complaints there. This is where, you know, if a bit more oomph to the episode, or if the set a bit more interesting, or if they'd been on an alien planet, for the direction and sets would have been better. The writing is so solid. This is like a higher tier writing, but everything else is more mediocre, right? So it's like, how far can good push excellent versus like a really well directed, actioned, mediocre script would be fun. It's like the Tasha Yar sister episode. The script's not great, but it's fun. It's silly. There's boobs. It does other things. This is missing a lot of that. This season though, it does still stand out a bit as being a very well written, far better written than Unification, better written than Redemption. You know, it beats a lot of it in this lineup, but then those things have things that are really cool. Like the game is so dynamic, right? Like, you know, score wise, I mean, it beats all of season 1 and season 2 probably, because writing and acting is just more on point. But that's not necessarily a high bar, right? So I'm going to be all TNG. I'm going to give it a 7.4. So getting close to top third for writing. This season has not been their best season, and it's probably right in there with this season, right? It's like, you know, I'll just say 7.4 across the board. I think is fair. Pretty darn solid. With really, the acting is what grabs it higher. And this has been in season 4 with a more interesting director, and say one more set change, would have been higher. Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? I feel like you guys are more poo-pooing on it than we are. I feel like, would you have done it a 5 or a 6 pre-live? I feel like I've upped you a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good for me.
That's what these are good for. I mean, sometimes I can change your mind, almost never, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Discussion's important, I think, in these kind of things. So.
Yeah.
That's why we do these reviews.
Indeed. Although, of course, in 2 years we'll think differently again about the episode, as our lingering memories will resurface.
It's true.
But we now know you like it more than you think you do. Keep that in mind.
Indeed. No super chat scores to address, unfortunately, so far. So
we're so close to a as well.
We're $5 away from a good number.
Oh,
there, I said it.
You said it. So in terms of non-super chat scores, we have a broad spectrum here. Spectre 8.5, Adam 7. Oh, Species, sorry. 8.5, Adam 7, Hypno 6. Trying to skip list, harsh. Joseph 6.9, Donnie only an 8, not a 10. I mean, for Donnie, that's basically a 3.
Well, his last score was also low for the last episode we did.
You must hate this episode. Wow. R.I.P. episode. The joke being he gives everything a 10, guys. If you're not regulars,
It does give everything a 10.
Jamie 7 out of 10. Elvis 5. They didn't take into account TOS stuff that could have helped. Okay. Kirk, all TNGs a 10, so everything is both shit and great at the same time. Dan 5. That's very low for Dan. Sergeant Montgomery 7. Raj remembers 7.5. So didn't really watch for this, Raj. That's okay. We would agree ish. Ryan 6.3. Experimental procedures, unsecured containers, reader's choice. And Elvis says, I don't get how they can connect. They can connect optic nerve to Geordie in 7 of 9, but can't connect the spine for Worf. Well, 7 has one eye that works, so it's a secondary thing. And Geordie, you've seen how he sees. Like, it's not. It's data. It's not vision, right? It's scanning wavelengths. Even with a visor, he can't see a normal sight. So it's not as good as his eyes in the sense of like reality. It's only through scanning. It's all connected to the brain, right? Moving it up or down. There's all the translations of data. Half of what you see isn't what you see, right? It's all calculations and clever. And
it was kind of a writing conceit that he's paralyzed and they can't fix it. Sure. For the future tech, but at the same time they said 7 vertebrae were crushed. I mean, the spinal cord in those, that's a long stretch of spinal cord. I assume if one vertebrae was crushed and it was severed at one point, yes, it would have been a no problem reconnect.
It'd be fixed by Tuesday.
Yes, but yeah, they made a point of saying that it was pretty extreme. So
like, he ain't well. That's the whole jam. He ain't doing so well. Like in the first 2 minutes, they express clearly he ain't doing well, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but it's one of those. It's just because the script said so moments. Mm-hmm. So that's fine. That's fine. Happens all the time. But yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you come back next week for our lives. We'll have more lives next week. We got a great episode coming out tomorrow. Another fantastic Starfleet vessel. And as we do every Saturday for 9 years, we always have ship content on Saturday.
Or tech on the odd occasion. Saturday. But it's ship or tech.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's always a Saturday release. That's what we're saying. So please join us for that. And yeah.
Trekyards next weekend. Do tune in.
27th.
Which, of course, speaking of poll, which do you enjoy most of our lives? The winner is the TNG reviews, which of course gets the lowest views. Interesting. At 46%. Rankings, which gets the most views at 29%. Drunk has the most, 25%, which gets the mediumest views. And Versus, which gets the second highest views at 0. So, but obviously only 24 votes. Not even half of you voted. Or just over half of you voted anyway, so fascinating.
It's a good place to leave it. Fascinating. All right, so until next time, everybody, he is Commander Calkins.
He is Captain Foley.
I'll see you guys in the future.
Bye, guys.